Hello everyone. This video is part 2 of a series I'm doing on the AWS Instance Scheduler. So in the first video I just talked about what the AWS Instance Scheduler actually does. So if you're interested in learning more about what it does, go check out that video. I'll put a description down below. But in this video we're going to actually go through how to set this up through the AWS console. So I'm at the Instance Scheduler page up at the top, as you can see, and I'm going to click on Launch an AWS console. And if you're not logged in, it'll ask you to log in. Since I'm already logged in, it goes immediately to this page. And it brings us to this, if you look closely here, CloudFormation up in the top left. And it's asking us to create a stack. So if you're not familiar with what CloudFormation is, it's a service offered through AWS that allows you to define AWS resources and relationships between AWS resources through templates. And you can kind of deploy these templates so that all these things can be created at once. So that's how the setup is here is going to look like. We're going to launch this stack, and it's going to create a whole bunch of resources that let us set up the instance scheduler successfully. So let's go ahead and do that now. So we see here we're going to create a stack, and it's going to be based off a template. It's based off a S3 template that's located at this URL. And we're going to click on next here. And we're going to be asked for a stack name. Let's just say Instance Scheduler Test Demo. There's a couple options here. There's a whole bunch of things that you may want to specify. I'm going to leave most of these default, but there's some documentation that goes along with this product or with this tool that you should check out. But I'm going to explain to you most of the things that you actually need to care about right here and now. So we have instance scheduler tag name. I'm going to leave this as default. This is going to be so that you can associate certain EC2 instances with certain schedules. So say for instance you want a weekend schedule and a weekday schedule. This is what you're going to be using as the tag name or the tag key. You can also specify if you want this to work for EC2 and RDS or both. I'm just going to be showing you how to do this for EC2 in this video, so I'm going to select that. Aurora, we don't care about that. We're not doing RDS. We want scheduling enabled because we want it to turn on and off based on our schedule. Default time zone, I am in US Eastern. Oops. Eastern, I hope this works. Yeah, Canada Eastern, awesome. Cross count roles, don't care. This account, yes. Okay, so this is the frequency. So this setting is kind of important, but not really. This is the periodic interval that your Lambda function will be invoked to basically check if it should turn on or off the instances. 5 is fine for most cases. I'm going to set it to 1 in this case, just because I'm going to be showing you live, so I don't want to have to wait 5 or 10 minutes for EC2 to be turned on or off. Memory size, in the documentation that I checked out, they suggest to increase this number if you're going to be turning on and off a lot of instances. Keep in mind though, if you get too big here, you can be charged quite a bit for Lambda. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to leave it at 128. It's been fine for handling 5 to 10 instances where I've tested this on in my own kind of side project here. These are additional options. Most of these you don't have to touch. I'm going to leave everything here as default. I'm going to go ahead and click on next in the bottom right here. Some additional things, you can specify tags, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to associate any tags with this. Permissions, IAM role. So I believe the default here it'll create a role for you. Actually, let me take a look at this. To create or modify. If you don't choose a role, CloudFormation uses permissions based on your user credentials. So this is actually an important point here. My user, I'm root user, so I have the administration capability. So I have all access to AWS. You're probably going to need something similar if you're setting this up for the first time, because this is going to create a whole bunch of things: IAM roles, Dynamodb tables, Lambda functions. So make sure that you have like pretty flexible permissions here when you're setting this up, or else it's just going to fail in the CloudFormation step. Going down here, more options that I don't really care about. I'm just going to leave everything there as default. Click on next in the bottom right. And if we scroll down, it's just going to give us a summary of what we're going to do. Everything kind of looks good. You have to click this bottom little box here to acknowledge that it's going to create a whole bunch of things. And finally, we're going to go to the bottom and click on Create Stack. Okay, so we are now in the CloudFormation section of the AWS console. So if we click on refresh here, we can see that we have a create in progress going on. This was a kind of copy of this that I created earlier, but we can see here if we click on refresh again that a whole bunch of resources are going to start being created. So we see some rules being created, some tables, more rules, log groups. There's a whole bunch of stuff here that's going to be created as part of this stack. And this is kind of why CloudFormation is so awesome, because you can kind of define a template and it'll go out and create all these things. If anything encounters an error, it'll roll back all those things to the initial state so that you don't need to worry about deploying something that may result in a broken kind of scenario, or a broken resource rather. So if we click on refresh a few times, we can see here a whole bunch of things are going to be created. I'm not going to bore you with the details here. This actually takes 5 to 10 minutes or so. So I'm actually going to just pause this stack deployment because it does pretty much the exact same thing as my other stack that I created yesterday. So I'm just going to click on delete in the top right here. It's going to delete this stack. Now it doesn't really matter which stack I use here, since I already kind of kicked off this deletion for the first one. I already have this one set up and running, and it uses the exact same settings. So we're just going to use this stack here with all the resources as the content for this video. So I'm going to go over to Dynamo now. And if you recall, a whole bunch of tables were created. So 2 tables specifically. One's a config table and one is a state table. Your config table is going to be the place where you define the rules or the schedules for your EC2 or RDS machines. The state table is something that's used internally for this application in order for everything to work. So you don't really need to look at that. So let's take a look at the config table. And so we have a couple different concepts here. And if you look at the documentation, you can understand what each of these are, but I'll just kind of explain them to you in kind of a brief way. So there's 3 concepts. There's a config row or a config type, a period type, and a schedule. So the config just contains general information here. And if we kind of scroll across, we can see that. We see that create RDS snapshots is false. The default regions, there's a whole bunch of just kind of Boolean values. There's one important one here, schedule, under tag name. And we're going to be coming back to this later. It's kind of important, so just kind of keep that in the back of your head. You can see there's a whole bunch of other things. If you want to enable metrics, you can kind of change these values. If you want to enable trace, you can change these values. So it's pretty flexible in that way. So again, config is just configuration values. Now period is the thing where you kind of define what you want your rule to be. So my office hours rule, I want it to start at 9 and end at 5 for me, because I'm in the office between 9 and 5. And that's pretty much everything that's set there. And we want to apply that between Monday and Friday. And that's what this syntax does for you here. There's a whole bunch of other syntax or other settings that you can use. For instance, you can apply this to certain EC2 machine types if you want to narrow this down by type. So I would suggest you read the documentation if you want to understand that a little bit more. And so after the period, you have the schedule, and the schedule is basically an instance that says, I want to use a particular period. So it has some additional settings here. It just refers to the period that I've defined, the office hours one, and then has the time zone. So schedule is just a simpler object, but it's what we use to kind of refer to the specific period that we made. So if you recall, I told you to keep in mind this name, the name schedule, the tag name schedule. And the other thing that I want you to remember is the name of the schedule. So mine is called Toronto office hours. So I'm just going to copy that so I don't have to retype it. Copy, please. There we go. Okay, so if I go over to the EC2 section now, in order to get here, you just go to EC2 and then click on Instances. So I'm here and I have a T2 micro instance running. Everything default. This is just basically a free tier machine. So if you're setting this up or you're trying this out, you can do this on your own. Just use all the default settings. I didn't do anything special here. You can see that by default it's in the running state. I just turned this on. So at this point, obviously nothing is happening. Right now it's actually Saturday. So when I apply this rule, this office hours rule, this thing should start turning off, right? That's the desired behavior that we want out of this whole thing. So in order to say I want the Toronto office hours kind of schedule or policy, I think of it as, to apply here, what you need to do is tag it appropriately. So you need to click on the instance and then go to the tag section. And then you need to go to add or edit tags. And this is where those 2 values that I mentioned before are important. So I'm going to click on create tag, and that important name that that important value that we had to remember was schedule. and the value is Toronto office hours. So that's the schedule name that I want to apply to this instance. Now, if I click on save, what's going to happen immediately is nothing. In the next invocation of the Lambda, which takes place every minute, it should detect that this EC2 instance is in a running state, and based on its tags, it applies the Toronto office hours schedule policy to it. So we should see in a moment here that once that Lambda invocation runs, that this will change from running to stopping or something like that. I'm going to click on refresh. So this is just basically random, so I'm not really sure when the Lambda is going to invoke. I'll come back once it's all done. Okay, I am back now, and I'm seeing just after refreshing the status that we can see it entered the stopping state. So this is perfect. This is exactly what we want. We know that we applied the Toronto office hours, and it's currently Saturday, so obviously it's not office hours. So it detected that this instance was up and part of this schedule rule, and just decided to start tearing it down. So this is perfect. This is exactly what we want. And just to kind of give you a little bit more information, there's a whole bunch of rules and different settings that you can set up. So in the instance scheduler documentation here, under the schedule section, there's periods, time zones, a whole bunch of other details here that you can take a look at that will help you define some schedule or period that fits your use case. It allows you to do like first Monday of the month, last day of the month, Monday to Thursday. There's a whole bunch of different settings here that you can take a look at and play with. And I'm sure if you read this over, you'll be able to develop a rule or policy that applies to your situation. So that's how you set this thing up. Hopefully this video was useful. If you did enjoy, please make sure to like and subscribe so that you don't miss out on next week's video. And check out some of the other videos I have. I'll put them in the description section below. Thanks so much, folks, and I'll see you next time.